Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Rev Share training on Monday morning here. And today we have Alfonso Camargo on here that's going to be training with us. He has a team. He and his sister run a team together. Between the two of them, they do 30 to 40 transactions a year. They've been in the real estate business, or he's been in the real estate about 15 years. He has been at EXP for 10 years. He was one of the really early adopters. Wow, cool. They have a rev share team of about 530 agents. They have 15 FLQAs currently. So we're going to learn today from Alfonso, a real veteran who's been with EXP 10 years. That's incredible. So welcome, Alfonso. Thank you for being here today and sharing and pouring into the Freedom Team. So we really appreciate you being here.
Glad to be here, guys.
Yeah, thanks. So why don't we start? So maybe just start in the beginning of your real estate journey, just a high level overview when you got into real estate, what got you into real estate, and then we'll move up to the time that you actually moved over to EXP.
So I was a truck driver for 10 years, guys. I was truck driving for 10 years. And as I truck drive, I would listen to a lot of audiobooks. And when I came to the conclusion that most people made a lot of money was in banking, real estate, and insurance. So I was just tired. I had just had a newborn, and I didn't want to be on the road anymore. So I went and got my real estate license in Biloxi, Mississippi, and that's kind of how it started. I was just tired of driving all over the road. I made really good money truck driving, and then I just decided on one day I want to be a realtor, and everybody looked at me like, how are you going to go from trucking to real estate? And I told them it was really easy because I learned a lot of negotiating skills in truck driving because I was my own owner operator in my truck. So it's almost like real estate. When you're a trucker, you got to pay a brokerage too. You got to lease onto a brokerage. You got to pay them a percentage of your loads. So I think that's where I got a lot of my negotiating skills because I would negotiate with a dispatch and then let's not negotiate. We would get into arguments because they were trying to underpay me and I was doing the math and I was like, this is not adding up. I'd rather just drive for free. And so then when I got into real estate, I joined Keller Williams. I was in Keller Williams, and when I joined, I had just gotten my license in Biloxi, and at the time I was married, and like 4 months later, my wife gets orders to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So like I really didn't use my license in Biloxi, so I got relicensed in New Mexico, and then I joined a team there, and I got a really good mentor at the time, and if it wasn't for my mentor, like I wouldn't be where I'm at in real estate because I joined a team. I didn't know nothing about real estate. I assumed people were going to come to you and everybody you're going to sell all these houses. And he taught me the game. He taught me the dedication, the phone calls. Like it was like a sweatshop. It was like boiler room straight up. It was like 9 to 3. You make your phone calls from 12 to 5 if you have to show, and then be a father and mother. Father and between times, and then every Sunday we had an open house. Like no matter what, if you didn't go to your open house, you got kicked out of the team. So like for 4 years, I didn't even watch football, and I love football. But what I would try to do is get an open house that had a TV, and I can watch a little bit of the game. But I just realized, the Raiders are going to send me a check, and I've been a fan of the Raiders forever, and they ain't going to send me no money. So, here in real estate, I learned a lot, and then finally, I moved back to San Antonio, and me and my sister teamed up. At the time when I got my real estate license, I convinced my sister to get her license, and I recruited her because at Keller Williams, you have profit share, and I told her, look, you can get. I found the holy grail to making all this money, and she listened to me, right? And so when I moved to San Antonio, we teamed up. We started a team. It was me, my sister, an assistant, and one buyer's agent, and we were having a good time. I think the first year me and her sold together, it was in 2015. I think the first year we did about 64 transactions and we did about 17, 18 mil. Like it was pretty cool.
That's great. Then, so did you guys start recruiting when you were at KW?
Yeah, I've been recruiting at KW since I started. And the way KW doesn't tell you to recruit, but KW, if you read the Red Book, it tells you to start a team. So indirectly, you have to go recruit. So
Yeah.
he's pretty smart guy. Um, so I actually I did recruit at KW, and I had about 15 agents, and I think at the time it paid me about $30,000 a year. I thought it was pretty cool because I was like, man, I pay $300 pays my gas. I mean, free money.
Free money. Yeah.
The way I see it is free money that you don't have to work for is free money.
Yeah.
So I kind
Yeah.
of had that, the recruiting in me because I had agents in like Louisiana. I had some all over. So I thought that was pretty cool that you can build like a referral team,
Mhm.
a team that you could always like. It's not like a team without having to give them leads. You know what I mean? So it was pretty cool. And then we were doing really good here at San Antonio with KW, and we met this guy that was a credit repair guy. Has nothing to do with real estate, and he's like, "Dude, you have to come see this new company, and it's the future of real estate." And I'm like, "What is this guy talking about?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm with Keller Williams. We're like number one." And I'm like, I gotta go see what this guy's talking about because, like, every smart business guy needs to know what competition's coming in or
Right.
what. So I set up an appointment, and as we were going, my sister's like, "No, let's not go. Blah blah blah. I have to go pick up the girls." And I said, "Look, I already set up an appointment. Don't worry about it. Let's just go. Let's make friends. If they're gonna recruit us, I go, look. If they recruit us, we just tell them, we're happy where we're at." So we go to the Dominion here in San Antonio, and Scott Lewis and Scott Lewis and Tracy Gagnon were giving the presentation. Pat Hayes was there, and all of a sudden, they, start giving this presentation about EXP, and I mean, I'm just like, I was on the hook like that because when they said stock, I was like, oh my God, they're gonna give you equity. I was like, man, I got another 20, 30 years in real estate. So imagine how much equity I could acquire from here to there. Not even thinking about the rev share. I saw the rev share. I was like, oh, that's cool. I can do it just like I'm doing it here at Keller Williams. I wasn't pressured to recruit or anything. I just, every time I met a cool agent that I thought, you know, wanted to take their business to the next level, I would always, say, hey, would you consider looking at this company, blah, blah, blah. So we were already doing that. And I saw everything that EXP had to offer, and I was in right on the I made the decision right on the spot. I told my sister we're leaving. She's like, but nobody knows this company. I go, dude, like if you know real estate, nobody buys real estate because of it.
That's right.
They don't.
So what was it that hooked you when you saw that? When you
To
saw
me,
the model? And
I,
you were 10 years ago. So how many agents were there? 1,000 agents at
there
that
was,
point?
I'm agent 955, so
Yeah.
there were less than 1,000 agents. What gave me like I was like, okay, the cap was there. It was just a lot of money saving. You were saving a lot of money. I was
And
doing
the
the math.
stock you said too appealed to you.
I was doing the math. I had an office here and I was paying $300, 150 in fees that they charge you. By the time I started, and then 80-20 split, and then you still have to pay your 6%. And then by the time I started doing the math, I'm like, and I had a website that I had Commissions Inc. I was paying $2,000 a month, and I did the math, and I told my sister, look, if we just move over, we'll save about 30 grand just by moving
Mhm.
over. Nothing
Yeah.
else. I mean, nothing else changes. I go $15,000 each that we can have, in our pockets, and that's kind of where. And I said, man, we'll be one of the first ones. I don't want to see this 20 years later and be like, oh, I could have been, with Dell, or I could have been with, Space,
Yeah.
you know. So
That
that
was me too. I was probably number 3,200, but I thought, I don't even know if this company's going to be around in a year or not. It had been around at that point, 8 years, and it had grown to 3,200 agents. I'd never heard of it. And I said, I think it's going to be the future of real estate. And if I don't move and I'll look back and it really is, I will kick myself. And so the fear of, it really becoming what I thought it could become and missing out was way bigger than me just being comfortable and staying where I was. Cause I was like you, I liked where I was at. And for all practical purposes, I was at 100% brokerage right before I came to EXP. And people are like, why are you going to an 80-20? It's because I saw the bigger vision of what the company was all about. So go back. I want to go back though, Alfonso, to the guy that invited you. What did you say he did? You said he wasn't even a realtor.
he was a credit repair guy, and I guess
Very cool.
he
Okay.
he knew Pat Hayes, and that's how kind of he introduced us. It was one of those things that you
Interesting.
just like. That's so cool that I
Did
listened,
he,
right.
yeah, did he ultimately get his license too? I mean, here he is recruiting for the company, wasn't even licensed.
Well, he was supposed to, so that's the funny part. Back then, EXP would give you 90, like if you wanted to join EXP and didn't have a license, they would let you join, and then you have to have a 90-day. You have 90 days. They give you 90 days to get your license, and then you could still recruit and build the ref share when the guy never did it. So I mean, I kind of feel bad for him because I mean, I have 530 agents. I mean, he would have been cashing in too.
Yeah. So whose team are you ultimately on here? Pat
I'm on
Hayes
Pat Hayes.
and
Pat Hayes is
that
my
whole group? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So, so you came over, you were 955 agent, less than 1,000 agents over here. We were in literally a no-name company at that point. Nobody had ever heard of us. So when you started talking to agents, and boy, things have changed over the last 10 years, because I know that they've changed over the last 8 years. But when you started talking to agents, how did that go? How was the reception when you were in the beginning stages of trying to build this?
When we would have sit downs with people that would be like EXP who, and people would look at us like we had like leprosy or something. They would just run away from us sometimes. And then you had the people that are like us, like the visionaries. The I call them the crazy ones because they're the ones that they take the risk takers. Like I call them the gamblers. I'm like, I'm looking for people like me. Like so a lot of people would be like, no, I'm good where I'm at. And I would just tell them, well, keep an eye on us because, and I go, if you don't want to join EXP, I mean, it's publicly traded. So, so I would give them that pitch. Some people would like it. Some people were like, I'm an office guy. So it was, we got every, every response in the book. Some people liked it. Some people didn't. Some people liked the split. So, but it was like, yeah, everybody wanted an office at the time. Everybody
Yeah,
wanted an office. I'm just
yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it wasn't until 2020 that people started realizing, oh, we really could do things different, in every kind of business there. So so we've got people that are on here that have been with EXP for a while. We have some on here that have only been here a short time. So for you today, as you bring on new agents who have interest in agent attraction, what is the script? Do you have a script? Give us the breakdown of how you train your people to start building their revenue share.
honestly don't have a script. I always so a lot of times every time I did a transaction, if the agent was a good agent, like we had very good dialogue and they were good, I would always invite them to lunch. I would say, hey, um, I appreciate the smooth transaction. I respect your professionalism, and I would love to buy you lunch. And that was it. I would buy them lunch, and then I would just say, "Hey, what's your company doing for you?" And I go, and I would just tell them, "Look, this is a company I joined. This is where I kind of give them a little history of what I'm doing." And some of them would like it, and some wouldn't. But I mean, that was my first take at recruiting was people that I met right away, like that I was 30 days doing a transaction with somebody. Then you kind of get to know them, and then I would take them to lunch, and then I would that we also had at the time, Scott Lewis, Rob Flick, Gene, they would all come down and do lunch and learns. So when they
Yeah.
did lunch and learns, I just became the professional inviter. I'm like, I don't know how to explain EXP. I don't know. Like there was so much to explain. And that's where I think that's what I did in the beginning. I sometimes messed up because I was just like, they have this, they have that. And now I became to where I listen to their pains and their business. You know what I mean? And when you listen to that, then oh look, we have this. Like I would have somebody, oh, I'm tired of wasting money on Zillow and all this. And I said, well, our company offers KV Core, included with your $85. And so, like, if you start solving people's problems or listening
Mhm.
to what they need, then there's always something that EXP could solve their problem with. And being a professional inviter was the biggest thing for me because I was not a mega agent. I was not like I think nobody knew who I was. So I would leverage, all these titans of real estate like Gene Frederick and all that. I'm like, look,
Mhm.
these guys, he sold his brokerage. Like, he sold his brokerage to come help build this. Like I would listen to that. I mean, he was already retired when he sold his brokerage. So literally I would just follow these guys. Like I would follow like Gene Frederick, uh, Brent Grove, whatever all these big guys did. That's all. I just followed them. I listened to those guys because those are the ones that are doing it. And then you would always have people that are like, well, some people don't want to join. I'm like, just find the next person. Just find the next person. But that was the what did it for me. And I actually didn't recruit the first year. I really didn't, because I was like, I want to make sure that this company's legit. I don't want to risk my reputation, blah blah blah. And what happened is, like, I think 8 months into it, we got our first rev share check. It was like $75. And I told my sister, "Oh my god, this is way more than that I used to get at KW." So then I started really paying attention, and I messaged. That's when I messaged by Pat, and was like, anytime you have any EXP, I basically said I'm gonna inject myself into the culture, right? So I would just like, anytime there's an EXP event, let me know. Let me know. I want to be there. And then I always branded myself, right? I always wear baseball caps or a T-shirt, and always EXP, always EXP. And I would never say anything to anybody. I would go to events, and people were like, "Hey, I've been seeing EXP. What is that company? Is it real?" And then I would just be like, if you want to set up an appointment, I really don't want to talk right now. If you want to set up an appointment, let's do it. Because at the time, a lot of times people would ask you about EXP, and then you sit there for 30 minutes and try to talk to them, and then I'm like, I'm here for an event. Like, I'm here for an event, not to recruit. So that way, it's almost like like a lead. If they're willing to meet you or text you, then they're really serious about it. So I would just say, hey, let's make an appointment if you really want to talk about it. If not, then there's YouTube. You can go research EXP there. So that's kind of how it started. And then, so I think there was Brent Grove did one of the first trips to Puerto Vallarta. I think 3 years. He and I went to it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go find out what these guys are doing. And I think everybody that attended that event makes no less than at least six figures. There was like 86 people at that event, and then they moved it to Cabo. But I mean, I've gone to Build. I've gone to almost every single event that there is. EXP Con. When we had shareholders, I went to everything, and everybody was like, when the company, because I told my sister, when the company's so small, I need everybody to know who I am. So like, I have like, even Glenn Sanford knows me now by name. Like everybody that matters at EXP kind of knows me. Which is pretty cool. But I had to go put myself out there, right?
There you go.
I spent money.
So you've said a couple of things, going way back to the very beginning before you ever got into real estate. I love what you said about, like, you were listening to audio all the time when you were doing your truck driving. Sounds like you were listening to a lot of personal development, a lot of personal growth. And so you were building you first. You started really building you before you really ever knew you're even going to get into real estate. What kind of things were you listening to back then? And what do you listen to today?
I would listen to like The Art of the Deal. I would listen to a lot of finance, a lot of like Dave Ramsey, David Bach. They don't teach finance in school. They don't teach a lot of this. So I just, you got to remember also, my parents are from Mexico, so I'm like first generation. So I learned how to speak English in kinder. So to me, my parents never, they don't know about stock, finance, and all that. So to me, I had to learn all this, and I wanted to. I was like, all right, you have this opportunity in an amazing country, like figure it out, like, you know what I mean? So even though I was truck driving, I was making $500,000 a year truck driving, but half of that's probably fuel, or a quarter of it. But I was like, all right, I can't be the best steering driver for forever. Like, I can't be a steering wheel holder forever. And my plan with truck driving was to buy a fleet and kind of have drivers. It's almost like EXP having agents, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of the plan. And I just decided real estate was going to be it, because I just the books that I read, I was like, I wanted to collect rents, and I wanted to be a landlord and stuff like that. So I was like, that's where I need to be. And listening to anything personal development, whether it's man, I have so many books that I can't even read it at the top of my mind right now. But a lot of finance, a lot of self development.
Yeah. Okay, and so fast forward then, so now you started building your team at EXP, just talk, it sounds like you're talking to agents just every time you do a deal. Well, if you're doing 30 or 40 a year, then you have 30 or 40 people that you're dealing with, right? But beyond that, what else did you do to build your revenue share? What are you doing today to continue building it?
So so now once you start building a rev share, now like I always tell people, like, some people are gonna build, some people are not. Some people are just gonna come to EXP and enjoy everything else and not share it with anybody else. I don't know why. I tell people, when you share it, you're actually blessing others. You just don't know it. People are like, I don't want to bother people. I'm like, how are you gonna bother people? I tell people, everybody needs EXP in their life. They just don't know it yet.
Right. I
And
agree 100% with that.
I have a lot of examples of that. When I didn't, like 3 years ago, my dad got really sick, and I was the one that had to take care of him physically because my sister couldn't, like, we had to bathe him and stuff like that. So I had to do all that, and if it wasn't for, yeah, I never had to worry about money because rev share was coming in. I can pass off my leads to somebody else. So I always tell people, like, I didn't know that I needed EXP till till my dad passed away, and I got to send him off. Like, I spent the last 3 years with him. It was beautiful, and with KW, I would have never been able to do that. Never. So I tell people, like sometimes you get tired, you don't want to go sell, you just want to take a day off. Sometimes you just want to go on a vacation. Sometimes, so it was more like, oh my god, this gives me a lot of freedom. Like, I can do so many things with EXP once you build a rev share that pays your bills. Like, I didn't think that I was gonna be able to make, pay my truck, pay all my bills, and still have money left over. Like, I don't, like, literally, if I really don't have to, if I don't want to work, I don't have to work. I'm not gonna live a lavish lifestyle, but I mean, I'll have enough. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so some people don't know that they need EXP till they need EXP.
That's so true. The other thing that you said that struck me is that you immersed yourself in everything. You go to everything, you plug into everything. And I think that is so key, especially in our environment that we're in, because we're not a brick and mortar. But more importantly, is you want to not only get to know all these people, you want to be known, which you made it very purposeful to be not only learning and going and growing, but you made it very purposeful to be known and to introduce yourself and make sure people know who you are. And yes, it was smaller back then, but that to me doesn't change it for today. We
Oh,
can
no.
still do the same thing. Glenn at any of these events is still very accessible for us to walk up and speak to. And he will take time to speak to any and every one of us. And um, I'm with you with this, Alfonso. I can't um, say enough how important it is. Especially if you want to build a rev, I really think for both sides, but we're talking rev share today. You need to immerse yourself in the culture. You've got to get yourself in front of the people that are doing it big, hearing what they're doing. Just like real estate, there's a lot of different ways to go generate a lead. And in the rev share, the component of it, it's all about talking to realtors, right? And there's several different ways that you can get yourself in front of realtors, talking to realtors. And when you go to these events and you're hearing, and like even showing up on Mondays and hearing from different people that are building, you're picking up just different ideas, right? And some are going to resonate with you maybe more than others, but I'm with you. I can't say how important it is to go to the builds, to go to the EXP con, and be in front of people. Um, so I'm just going to open it up here for um, just if anybody has a question, let's just pause a minute, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask him a question where we are at this point, if something's resonating for you, or if
Yeah. If I could say something on Glenn Sanford and the staff and the people, like, they're the real deal. Like, they're like, I went to EXP Con in Vegas, and they rented the Omnia, which is an amazing club. If you guys have never been there, I saw Glenn stand right in the entrance, like one of the entrances, and he literally greeted every single person that came in and took a picture with him. That right there, I mean, KW, I never got to meet Gary Keller. He was like,
yeah. Yeah, he was not accessible. I was there for 7 years myself. I was a manager broker for several years, and I did meet him one time, but for the most part, he was very unaccessible. You know, where every time I go to an EXP event, almost I think every single time I've always had conversations with Glenn.
Oh, and then if you pay attention to him, every time he goes to an event, he'll sit in the front row and take notes. And I'm like, this guy's a billionaire.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's how locked in he is and how dedicated he is.
Yeah.
And that speaks well.
And it makes you think, okay, if he's doing that, maybe I should do that,
In
right? So
leadership.
total. Yeah, totally, totally. So does anybody have a question that they want to ask Alfonso?
Hey Alfonso, great job, great building and sharing. I wanted to see, did you basically build your entire revenue share one-on-one, or did you bring in like small brokerages, anything, a mixture?
It's a mixture. It was, some people, come with three, four in a team. Some come like 20. Some come one. So it was a mixture. But if I can go do it all over again, I'd pick small teams. I'd focus on the small teams because you build a lot faster.
And what do you consider a small team?
10, 15 people in a team. I mean, you get 5 teams. That's 100 people already. And then, I mean, what happens is, you have one or 10 people out of the 100 that want to recruit. I always say about 10% of 10 to 8% people recruit.
Yep.
So now it's just like math. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
you know, year to date, I think EXP's paid me almost $1 million in rev share in
Yeah.
nine
So good.
half years. And I mean, KW didn't never give me that, and not including the stock that we got. I mean, we got so much stock that we got at. I jumped in when the stock was 62 cents or something like that, 71 cents. So
And then it went up to like 150 at one point before, and then we had the split. With
yeah, so I mean, I saw the ride, and it keeps on. And the thing is that it keeps on getting better. Everything keeps on getting better. It's like
yes.
they keep on adding cool stuff like Zukasa. I mean, everything's just like, if I have people leave EXP because they say it's too much information. I'm like, just pick what you like, calm down. But I
Right.
mean, we just have so much that the company gives that I mean, I just I love EXP.
Yeah. Yeah. Me as well. Me as well. Um, so do you, so of your 530, what do you have, 535 agents? Of those, how many agents built that, help you build that?
So
Who
like
are
one agent,
approx?
that's why I always tell people, you don't know who it's gonna be. Out of one of my
Right.
agents, one of my biggest builders, he has 250 in his team, and that one came from, we had the listing, he had the buy, and all I did was invite him to lunch. We did a lunch and learn. He saw it. And he said, "No, I'm going to open up my own brokerage." And I said, "Okay, who's going to be in your?" And he's all, "I have 5 friends." And I said, "Look, invite your 5 friends to the lunch and learn next Friday. Let them come see XP. It's on me. The food's on me, and let's see what they say." And then he's like, "All right, cool." He brought them. All the guys wanted to join EXP. I go, "See, why do you want to open a brokerage?" I go, "You're going to have a lot of headaches." And he ended up joining, and he's one of my probably top recruiters, Tyler Royke.
Wow. Oh, Tyler. Yeah, I know Tyler. He's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's
I
amazing. I
just
mean,
saw him in Cabo. Yeah.
yeah, he's. I
We've
mean,
been doing some webinars together. Like he's doing I'm doing some of the webinars
yeah.
too. So,
So
yeah.
that's my ace right there. He's one of my guys, and I mean, and I've loved seeing him develop. Like, he's not the same guy when I met him. Like, he is like Mr. YouTube now and everything. I love it. So proud of
He's very, he's inspiring because to me, he's very quiet and he's more introverted, right? And he has done, he sells a lot of real estate too. And he's built an amazing rep, like you said, 250 people like that came from him. And he's very reserved. He's more introverted, I feel like. But I think he's methodical, right? I think maybe he's methodical, but that's inspiring because, sometimes agents say, I'm that introvert, I'm this, I'm that, but it doesn't have to be your excuse, right? I mean, Tyler's a good example of that. it doesn't have to be the excuse of why you can't achieve what you're trying to achieve for you and your family.
There's a book called Building an Empire.
Yeah.
And that
Ryan
book,
Carruthers. Yep.
yeah, that book right there, I read it. That one, I think set me off because I think I read it when we went to shareholders in Florida, and somebody gave me the book. You're like, you need to read this, and I'm like, whatever. And I read it, and I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. This is what I needed. Like, if you knew residual income, you wouldn't care what people thought, and you would talk to every person you could, because I mean, it is life changing. It is life changing.
He said, there's somebody famous, I don't remember who it is, said that if you understood the power of residual income, you'd literally run through a brick wall to get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, any other questions that anybody has? Just wanted to pause here.
I've got a question. I was just wondering. Thanks for a great information about how you've come to be where you're at today. I was just wondering, what are you doing right now with your existing agents to keep them motivated, keep them help them wherever they're at, and help them want to learn if they're not builders right now to turn into a builder?
I just keep on sharing events and inviting them to stuff, and a lot of times it's when they're ready, like because I mean you could just keep cheering until they want to join you, because most of the time is when something happens in their life and they need something, or they saw something and something clicks in their head. I tell people, once they have their aha moment, even though they're here and they say they want to recruit, everybody talks a big game, right? Until they do it. And then I think what happens is they present it or they share it with somebody, and then nobody joins. And I tell them, like, I've been recruiting for 15 years, and it's just like a lead, right? Some are gonna join right now. Some are gonna join 6 months from now. Some are gonna join 2 years from now. So you can't let one person not join and disappoint you. You know what I mean? I've had friends not join EXP, and I feel bad for them. I said, all right, well, stay where you're.
They're lost. But I think he was asking about the people in your organization. Is that right, Mark? Were you asking about the one that's of the 535 agents that are in his organization, how he helps to inspire and move them?
Correct.
Yeah. So out of those, I found out who my builders are, and I just kind of stay in contact and share any information where Cabo, lunch and learns, anything new that comes out at EXP. I'm and always just keep them inspired and just I think all you can do is share. I mean, because you can't really, or you have to lead by example. That's the way I tell people, because I can go tell you, oh, go work out, and then if I'm not in shape, then you're not going to listen to me. So if you're doing it and they see you doing it, then they will follow. If you're not doing what you say you're doing, they're not going to listen to you. So I think that's how I do it. Is just lead by example. And sometimes, like, I used to be that one cheering like everybody, and I think that drained me sometimes. So I'm just like, I just message her. We have a Facebook group with everybody in there, and then I always just share things that we're doing, and always sharing events. That's all I can do, because I mean, motivation comes from within, I think.
Yeah.
Alfonso, I have a question.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Thank you. Alfonso, I'm new to recruiting, so I don't think I have a good vision for doing lunch and learns. I'm going to read those books you talked about. What today can I do to create like a lunch and learn for this Friday that you would say would be a good start?
So either find one in your area. If you don't want to do it yourself yet, find one in your area, or find a webinar. I know somebody always does a weekly webinar where they explain EXP. So I know Tom Trung used to do one. I know Tyler still does one sometimes. I know a lot of agents still do them. You just have to find out who does one, and then who does a local. Like we have one here in San Antonio that gets done every month. They have a lunch in the Hermanos. I don't know if it's a property Hermanos. They do one in San Antonio once a month, and that's my job. Like when the lunch and learn comes in, my job is to invite 2 or 3 people, and that's it. Hopefully one of them joins, and then just stay in contact with them, just like just like leads.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So when you're staying in contact with them, Alfonso, what type things are you dripping on your prospects, and how are you staying in touch with them? What things are you talking with them about or sharing with them?
Well, so like birthdays, I check up on them. Hey, how's, how, like, through social media, and you really have to care about people, and people know, like, and be genuine. Like, I really do care about people. I'm a Marine, so I tell people I signed up to die for our country for $1,700 a month. So I must love this country. Like, I must love this country. So, like, you know, just help out as much as you can. Share anything you can. Any websites, how to close more deals, anything that you can share or what you're doing, always helps.
Do y'all do any type trainings for y'all's group of 500 agents, 500 plus agents? Do y'all do any consistent things for your agents, either talking on the rev share side or even on the production side?
Unfortunately, we haven't, and that's one thing that we have talked about. Me and my sister doing that more now that we have more time, because now there comes like where you get a little bit of time freedom, and now you can help out more people. And when you're producing and still, like, it's hard to help out everybody. But yeah, that's one thing that we're doing. We're going to be doing this year, is doing more just kind of inviting the team, kind of like team builder. So like my sister, we're going to be doing like a lot more like Top Golf, and like reinvesting. I mean, you're investing your ref share dollars into your team. Why not?
Into your team. That's right. Are you most of your people in San Antonio? Is that where most of your group is?
They're all over the country, but like the ones that we can meet, like anytime I travel to any city, if I always put a post on social media, hey, anybody that's in my ref share team here, like, wants to have coffee, I always meet them. I always meet anybody, and be accessible. I'm always accessible to anybody that needs help recruiting or talking to somebody. I'm just not afraid to talk to anybody. I really don't care, like, to be honest.
So is your method in building today, is it just inviting them once a month to the lunch and learns, people you're in the process of doing transactions with, or maybe just closed one with? Is that what you're mainly doing right now, inviting new prospects to that monthly?
Right now, that's what I've been. That's what I've been doing ever since I started at EXP. We've had here in San Antonio. We've been lucky that here in San Antonio we have consistent lunch and learns. So, I mean, that's all I really did, because I was like, all right, these guys are presenting it. All I have to do is invite.
Yeah.
And then from doing all that, I got really good at, like, listening to. Every time I went, even though I listened to the EXP presentation like probably a million times, I always get something out of it, or something different that I could explain, and so it just comes second nature to be able to talk about EXP when I'm because I'm always, I tell people it's in my DNA. Like, EXP is in my DNA right now.
It's part of you, you can tell it just oozes out of you. Two things, going back to Sandra. Sandra, if nobody is doing a lunch and learn in your area already, see if you can tag up with 2 or 3 other EXP agents. Find somebody that maybe has been in a little bit longer than you, or just learn the presentation yourself. There's several presentations out there, like Brent Gove has one at themodelexplain.com, and he keeps promising every month it's going to be updated. I think he's shot another one, but I think it's in compliance right now with EXP, so he's waiting on the final hand of approval for that, and then I think it's going to be updated. But there's several others. EXP has a 9-minute video that they put out, so you could just learn the information and then get up there and present it yourself.
Yeah, I do listing presentation. I practiced a lot before my first one, but is that a link you can drop here? I think I already have that, but just
the 9-minute one. Yes, I can do that. And so, yeah, and I would just, like Alfonso's talking about, just start inviting people there. And so to the lunch and learns. That's how we started originally in Nashville as well. With our lunch and learns. We've gotten away from them, but listening to you, Alfonso, makes me think we need to get back to them.
Well, it's because it helps. It keeps a lot of people in the community, like so there's sometimes that realtors will show up and they don't even bring anybody. They're with EXP. They just want to be around it and listening to it again and get inspired again. I don't know. Every time I see every time I see the EXP explain, I get inspired and people,
Yeah.
get re-energized.
Yeah, totally.
I was wondering, I had a question. So when you do get an agent that, is interested in joining what do you find are the easiest way to get them onboarded? What ways are you using to onboard agents?
I just give them the link, and then if they have any questions, I just tell them that I'll walk them through it if they need to. But most people get the link, and it's pretty simple. But I don't really walk them through a lot of stuff unless they need help. Then I'll walk them through it. But most of them, it's pretty simple to join.
So, Mark, so with the Freedom team, we have an onboarding specialist, and she charges, I think it's $75, but she literally spends 3 hours with them onboarding them. So she onboards them once they've joined. She goes through all the, she'll take them on a tour of the world. She shows them workplace. She really dives deep into everything for them. And you can sign, I'm putting our website on here. It says home on here. I don't know why it showed up like that. But anyway, so on the website, you just go to white glove onboarding. And there's a document that you can fill out to just have somebody onboarded. I highly recommend, if you don't have if we as agents, if you don't have a system to be able to really walk them through all the different things about EXP and some of the specific trainings that EXP does, like our iConversations on Friday, things like that, to be able to make sure people know about as they come on. I highly recommend plugging them into Fonda. It's so worth it, in my opinion. Like I said, she spends about 2.5 to 3 hours with each person that onboards.
I love that. I would absolutely prefer that. I mean, at that point, I have a couple agents that are thinking about joining EXP right now, and they've heard me over and over again. It'd be great to be able to pass them off to somebody that could give them a different perspective. And, it sounds like that's what she does. So she's very familiar, and I'm there 100% to help my agent.
Let me stop you for a second there. She's not the one to kind of get them over the wall. You send them to her once they're saying, hey, I'm ready to join. Then that's the time to send them to her. If they're like right there or they're looking for other people to speak to, then I would say plug them into any of the leadership team on the Freedom team, right? Get one of us, me, Jeff, Sean, Tim, Eric, any of those on a call and let us see if we can help them get them over the wall, right? But once they go to Fonda, they're already saying, hey, I'm ready to join. And then she's going to help them from the join app, make sure they put you down as the sponsor. And then she's going to follow that app all the way through, help them get fully onboarded. And then once they're fully onboarded with EXP, then she sets another time up with them to really go through all the different systems within EXP.
And she's okay with helping agents onboard from multiple states. I'm in Ohio.
Yep. So she's been doing onboarding now for 3 years plus, but she used to work for EXP for 4 years. She was an actual employee here. And then she said that she really just saw a niche where she felt like people needed more service, coming on. They needed more hand holding than what she could do as an employee, because she can't spend 2 hours per onboarding agent, right, as an employee here. So she just saw an opportunity that she felt like she could service, the agents that are bringing agents in. And Alfonso, you can utilize her too if you want. She's not exclusive to Freedom Team, but so you can also feel free to reach out to her.
I have used people. Bob McGee, I think, is in Austin. I think I've used him, and I think, like, it depends on the agent too. Like, if they're a brand new agent, then like you're not gonna pay $300 so they can get onboarded. Because I have had big teams where they come in and I mean all hands on deck with those. You know what I mean? So we have had paid on some of them, and then on some of them, I'll walk them through. Like if they're brand new agents, and I'll take the time to like meet them and have coffee and get them into the world and stuff like that. But for the most part, once they get in, I mean, the trainings are there. Like really can't mess it up.
Yeah. Sometimes they just need a little direction too, but Fonda's $75, so it's very well worth it.
Oh yeah,
In my opinion.
yeah.
So,
Bob was
yeah.
charging 300. I'll
Yeah.
definitely pay $75.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's way more detailed. We just met with her on Friday again because now I think she's going to start incorporating information about the Freedom Team and making sure they know about our trainings, things like that. But what I will say now that we've kind of gone down this trail is when you're onboarding an agent, even when we give them over to Fonda, like I have all my people that I onboard, I have them go through her. But I also make sure they know about the most important things that I think is important for them to know. Like I want them obviously to know about all the Freedom Team trainings that we've got going on. I want them to know about the events, especially if one's coming up soon, right? We're doing regionals. Now we got builds that are going to be coming around. So I want them to know about those things. And she's not really getting into that type of thing. So it's important that we also, as sponsors, are simultaneously staying in contact with our people and making sure that we're helping them get acclimated. It's a lot to when you change brokerages, especially if you've been, when you've been at a place for a long time and you make the move. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to it. You're trying to still run your business and everything too. So we just want to do as sponsors, I feel like it's our responsibility to make the transition as smooth for them as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate your answers to my question, guys. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions that they want to ask Alfonso about building or what? I mean, it's incredible. 535 agents that you've built. You're still selling 30, 40 houses a year, made over $1 million in rev share. I mean, shoot, like think about that, guys. This isn't even counting the stock that they've earned. So think about taking that $1 million. If he had invested that, and very well might have invested some, but I'm just saying, if you invest even a portion of that, so say he took 500,000 over that 10 years and invested that, and then he works another 10 or 15 or 20 years, the compound effect that money can become to set him up for full retirement, like, is unheard of. There is no other company out there that offers what EXP offers, to be able to set agents up to get them to a nice retirement at the end of the day. But one thing too that I heard you say, Alfonso, that just resonates with me, and this is where I feel like I built my success in real estate. We used to sell a lot of houses. And because of rev share, I've been able to buy a lot of my time back over the years. I still sell, but it's all referrals at this point. But it's just plain hard work. It comes down to, it's one thing to know and to come to these trainings and to learn and to absorb. But if you're not turning around and going out there and, put the, pedal to the metal, so to speak, right? It requires action on our part. And especially early years in my real estate career that got me to where I wanted to be, and in the rev share building years, it was intense, focused activity for a long time to be able to move the needle, because it is that whole compound effect, right? To be able to really get what's that analogy? How much effort it takes to get the plane off of the runway. But then when you're at cruising altitude, you're just cruising, right? And so it's effort to get your real estate business going at high levels. It's effort to get the revenue share at, at the capacity where you can just start cruising, right? And we never want to cruise in our business because things can always shift, right? Things always do shift. I mean, there are always the ups and downs of our industry, and people come, people go, all of that. But once you get to a certain level, it's easier to take a little bit of a break. You know, like you said, Alfonso, I can take a day off now. You know, when your dad was sick and it sounds like ultimately passed away, which I'm sorry to hear that, is you had that freedom because of all the effort that you had put in beforehand. You know, when
Yeah.
my husband, most of y'all have heard this, but when he had unexpected quadruple bypass in 2020, we were right in the middle of COVID. It was July of 2020, like COVID was rampant at that moment. And unexpectedly, he ended up having quadruple bypass. And because of what I had done prior, unbeknownst that we were going to be facing that, I was able to step completely out of my business, out of the sales side. I did nothing in sales for 60 days. I did not pick up one phone call and prospect. I didn't do anything. And we know in sales, when you do that, like it's really 90 days, 120 days when you completely don't work a day for 60 days. And it was only because of the rev share. And I can't tell you how many times, and Alfonso, I'm sure you and your sister and your family had some of these similar conversations, but I can't tell you how many times Steve and I have had the conversation, and he's doing great today, thank the Lord. But that what a blessing and a huge relief that it was for us that we didn't have to worry about the finances on top of the health stuff, you know, that I really could sit back and really just care for him, because that's a very emotional surgery they go through and all. And it's like, it literally brings tears to our eyes when we think about like the gift that really afforded us. And so it's building our rev share for me is about being ready for the unexpected that's going to come, because it's going to come.
Life's
And
coming.
you know, whether we like the idea or not, we all go through life circumstances. And so hopefully not as, you know, big as what we're talking about here. But I mean, simply just the market shift. I mean, we've been in a market shift, right? To be able to have the rev share to help carry through the tougher times is such a gift that we have at our fingertips. And like you said, Alfonso, we are offering agents, when we talk to them, we are offering them a gift. We're giving them an opportunity. And it's up to them if they take it or not. We just can't be tied to the outcome for them. We just have to give them the gift, and they can choose to accept it or not accept it.
Absolutely. That's what I always tell people. When you share your EXP, you're blessing others, and you
That's
just don't know.
right. Yeah, 100%. Okay, I kind of went on a tangent, I think, for a couple of minutes, but so we have a couple minutes left. So who has some final question for Alfonso? You know, I just want to say, Alfonso, I can feel your heart when you talk. Like your passion and your heart just oozes out. And I can completely see why people want to come alongside of you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Because it really just does come from within.
Yeah.
So much. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you're passionate as well. I mean, like I'm just blessed that EXP landed in my life. I'm blessed that I paid attention and I wasn't arrogant. And I mean, at the time I was making a lot of money, and I was happy at KW. I didn't literally have to move, and my sister didn't want to come, and I told her, I go, you stay over there and I stay over here. This is what I told her. Look, let's come to EXP for 3 years. Nothing happens. We go back to KW.
Yeah.
But if now we're gonna be sick to our stomachs if we don't, if we have this opportunity and then we don't, and here we are, and I'm just glad she listened.
Yeah, that was exactly that's exactly what I said too. But I said 1 year. I was going to give it 1 year, not 3 years. I was going to give it 1 year, and then I'm going
Because
to
of the
say,
vetting and that, I'm always like one of those that, a year, it's all right, but at 3 years you can really see if the
you
company's
really know. That's right. Yeah.
That's what I kind of figured. So I said, all right,
Yeah. That's probably that probably gives it a better fair shot. But clearly, neither one of us have left. After 3 years or after 1 year, we're still here.
Yeah,
And we're still like talking as passionately and as excited about it, and really truly feel like all these years later that it really is a gift not only that we've gotten, but that we're able to bless others with too.
Oh, I mean, to this day, I wake up and I'm just like, I'm blessed, and thank you for EXP. And I mean,
Yes.
almost all my clothing has this EXP logo on it somewhere.
Yeah.
Like even my
That's
kids,
great too. That's great too, to have the logos. And, you know, one of Kelly Fasterling, most of y'all know, but she was in the airport about a year ago and had a EXP bag. And I don't remember. And anyway, there was a realtor in the terminal that she didn't know, and they were with another company, and he was like, "Oh, are you with EXP?" And she was like, "Yes." So the conversation started, and that's Scott Pruitt, who now made a move over here, and you know, he's out in California doing amazing things out there. He's already started building a team. I think he's already got 10 or 12 agents that are partnered with him, and they met because of a logoed bag. And the conversation started.
yeah.
So.
And then, you know, now that, you know, me and my sister have more time freedom, there's a lot of things we're talking about. Like I want to start like a yearly scholarship
Yes.
where I can give out a yearly scholarship for anybody that wants to join real estate. You know, $3,000 scholarship will get you your license, get you active, and you know, and get you an FLQA. Why not? Now you're giving back to the community. So those are the kind of things that me and my sister are talking about now,
Love that.
that we want to do to help and bring others into the business.
Yeah, love that. So you're just gonna pay for their schooling? Is that what your scholarship is?
That's what we want to do. I want to do like a scholarship, and like, you know, put something where, hey, I need people to write a letter why they would be a good salesman, or I want to do something like a video or a post where like, hey, do you know anybody that is talented, is willing to do this? Well, you know what I mean? All the attributes it takes to be a realtor.
Love it. Yeah.
And then send me a video, and then we'll choose a contestant or something like that. But that's
Love it.
the ideas that I have going on my head.
Yeah, love that so much. So good.
Because now
Well,
we
what's that?
want to give back, you know.
Yeah, 100%. That's right. That's what it's about. You know, it's blessed to be a blessing. That's my motto for sure. Well, Alfonso, thank you so much for coming on and sharing just a lot of good little nuggets and just a lot of inspiration that you've given and shared today. So I appreciate you being willing to come on and share with the Freedom Team.
All right, guys. Well, I'm in San Antonio, guys. So if you guys ever need anything in San Antonio, I'm an ex-Marine, and this is Military USA. So if you guys ever need anything here in San Antonio, or if you guys are in town, let's have coffee. I'll buy you guys lunch or
Down
something.
there, actually, the end of June, I'm going to Bandera.
Bandera. Okay, yeah. Well, if you're out, let's have coffee. Bandera's not,
Yes, I'll have to look you up and call you.
yeah,
So,
Bandera's like 30 minutes from where I'm at. So you're
yeah,
good.
well, I'm flying into San Antonio, but then we'll be heading out to Bandera. That's real ranch country out there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let us know. We'll take you to one of our favorite restaurants here in San Antonio.
Oh, fun. Okay, that's
We'll
awesome.
we'll get you some Mexican food out here. Some good.
Oh, love it. But which restaurant is it? Curious.
There's a few of them. Like there's one I like. If you like tacos, I'm gonna take you to Taco Palenque.
Okay.
It's one of my
So
favorites.
one of my friends there actually owns Las Palapas.
No way. I love Las Palapas. I've been going to Las Palapas since I moved here.
Okay, all right. Well, we're still recording, so hopefully we can cut the part off. I should stop recording. But anyway, I'll have to introduce you guys, so we'll connect up. But yeah.
All right, bye.
All right, thank you again. Y'all have a great day. Appreciate everybody being
Thank
here.
you, guys.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Alfonso, do you want me to send you a copy of this recording?